couple opening comments that I have today. Certainly yesterday was a historic day around sports, the different leagues around our country. And for me, yesterday was a day of action, is how I would term it. Everybody understands how our ball club is put together. We have 8 black players on our team. And with the things that have happened, again, in society, our players wanted to see action. And I commend them for that. Very proud of the group, the leadership they showed yesterday. This is unprecedented times in what we're trying to deal with here. And, how our players have handled this, they continue to speak up and to do the right thing. So certainly yesterday, coming into the ballpark, I knew there would be a lot of discussion about where this was going to head and the action we took. Again, very, very proud of our players. On top of that, I think the Mariners organization has done an awesome job in trying to educate people within our organization, the employees, educate people in our community on the changes that we want to make to try to get rid of the systemic racism that is going on. So yesterday, it was a very unique day, but one that at the end of the day, as I went home last night with no game being played, I couldn't have been any more proud of our players and the discussions we had as a team yesterday. So, sports are a privilege, and we get the opportunity to play an awesome game. We get paid for it. These guys, they're the best in the world, and they get to compete on this level every day. But it is a privilege. It's a privilege of a functioning society. And our players made a decision yesterday to take a step backwards and to back off the gas here, to create some awareness about something that we need change. We need change. And again, I commend our players for continuing doing the right thing. And, the discussions like we had yesterday as a team were very meaningful. We continue to learn from each other, educate each other, and that's what this is all about. So with that, I will take some questions.
Did D come up to you fairly early during the day, Skip, and let you know what the plans were for the ball club, what they wanted to do? We
had some discussions. A couple different players individually grabbed me yesterday afternoon, probably around 2 o'clock. Sat down with players in my office, discussed how they were feeling. Then a group of about 6 or 7 of our players came in to my office about an hour after those individual conversations, and we had another talk about where they were at. We had a team meeting after that. So the discussions carried on for quite some time. We, as a team, unanimously decided that we should not play that game last night. So it was an interesting day, no doubt. I wake up this morning feeling even better about our team and how we're wired and doing the right thing.
Well, I'll jump in. My name is Bryce Miller. I'm a sports columnist at the San Diego Union Tribune. I'm just curious because we always, since March especially, there have been these moments where things happen, people make a stand, a team doesn't play, some marker, some moment in time. Did the last 24 hours and what you guys were involved in specifically, does that feel different? Do you think we'll look back in 6 months and say that was a really meaningful moment involving the Mariners because of what happened yesterday?
Only if there's change. And, I think people need to understand what change looks like, because I don't think everybody's quite aware yet and how you can make change. Whether it's, your ability to register and go out and vote, to do different things to allow yourself to have a voice, and educating family members, friends, people that are around you. I think it's really important that people try to understand that we all grew up and were raised in different environments. So, to try to empathize with people when you've never walked in their shoes is difficult, but that's how change happens. You have to listen, you have to grow as a person, and then you hopefully, those around you that are close to you, you can help them grow, and you look up and we say, hey, remember when this happened? It was George Floyd. It was Jacob Blake. There was things that were going on in society that professional athletes, because they do have a platform, decided to voice their opinions and to take a step back. And again, I keep my fingers crossed that we will look back on that, but it'll only happen if there's change.
Scott, was there any discussion of playing today, or was that just assumed that you would go forward today?
When we had the original team meeting about not playing yesterday, it really wasn't discussed whether we would play today or not until after everything was decided there, and then had an opportunity to sit down, a small group or leadership group, in my office for about an hour, probably closer to 5, 6 o'clock last night, and talk about today. So I think everybody was on board. I do know everybody was on board with playing today, and we will play a doubleheader today, and those will be 2 7-inning games.
Scott, so many people, there are obviously lots of sides to this, and there is a group of people that think that athletes should just stick to sports. Obviously, you guys don't believe in that, but how do you make sure that, you continue to keep your guys on that path when they will experience some backlash from all of this?
Oh, there's one thing about our group. We're very strong. I feel very, very confident. Whether it's young players, guys that have been in the league a little bit, they're very strong in their beliefs and doing the right thing, and continue to talk about doing the right things with people around them. So not concerned about that at all. There's going to be backlash in anything you do in today's society with all the outlets that are there for people to express their opinion. That's just the world we live in. But these are not just athletes. These are people. These are people that are afraid. They're worried about loved ones, family members in different parts of the country. As many of you know, I'm from Wisconsin. And to see what's happened there, it has been upsetting. And how things will progress from here will tell a lot about the people in those areas and how they make adjustments along the way to make sure they're doing the right things. So I'm not worried about our players at all in that regard, Ryan.
Scott, what do you draw on to deal with this and to help your leadership group along with this?
I'm sorry, Shannon, what was the first thing you said? I'm sorry.
What do you draw upon, or what resources do you use to help this leadership group in what they are doing?
I think the resources that I use, I continuing, even when, things first started to happen, when the George Floyd situation came about, and going back to we were all away from each other, spread all over the country, and having conversations with our players at that time, making sure that they understand that, as an organization, we have their back, we support, what's going on. At that point, I quickly came to the realization that I need to learn a lot about what's happened in our country, on educating myself. And it's really hard to help others or lead others when you're not educated yourself. How you lead, how consistent you are. You have to tell the truth and what you feel. But for me, I really needed to educate myself. Along the way, I think I'm a much better position to lead this group with what's going on here. So, and drawing from those resources, whether it's reading, it's podcasts, it's watching documentaries, it's going to seminars, talking to people who are very, very educated in the different areas, and not just things that have happened around, the Seattle, Pacific Northwest, but all over our country. So I think I'm much better prepared than I certainly was 5, 6 months ago. There's no question about it. And along the way, I'm hoping I'm helping our team, our coaching staff, and our players.
Yesterday, you had to go out and find Jace Tingler and have that initial conversation. Can you share a little bit of what you explained to him in that moment?
I've known Ting for a long time. Worked together back when he was with the Rangers. Just explained to him that we were not going to play the game tonight. He was a little surprised. I just said, this is a team decision. And, quickly he had to get on the phone and talk to AJ and his people there. So there was nothing really more than that.
Could you describe just some of the emotion that you were seeing? I mean, you have to gauge what the players are feeling. How would you describe some of the emotion that you were seeing coming out of your guys when they were talking to you about this?
I would say very raw emotion. In the team meeting, a couple of our players got up and talked, and it was very emotional. Many of those who didn't talk, the expressions on their face, the body language, where they're at. It was very heartfelt. Even myself, I just care very deeply for our guys and what they're going through, and trying to, try to understand it best I can to help them out is what I'm focused on here. But it was very emotional.
Hey, Scott, it was a unanimous decision. I thought that was great. I thought with your support and everything, I thought that was great. Can you tell us, you don't have to name names, but maybe the reacts of some of the white players? I mean, I talked to some of the guys last night, but I'd be curious to know what some of the white players were thinking, in the discussion that you guys might have had, how they may have expressed themselves.
I think the white players have really got a much better grasp of what has gone on in history, and they've learned a ton over the last couple of months because of the relationships we have and the fact that we have 8 black players on our team right now, 11 on our 40-man roster. The conversation is ongoing. It is really good in our clubhouse. I wish our country was as disciplined in the conversations we're going like they are in our clubhouse. I really do. Unfortunately, it's probably not happening everywhere. So a number of the comments from guys and the questions and, our leadership group, you're talking about Marco and Siegs and guys like that really are very, show a lot of empathy towards what's going on. And they're trying to understand, realizing that, they did not walk in those shoes. We had a player share a story in the team meeting about a situation that just happened recently in Tacoma, where somebody drove by down the street and dropped the N-word on them. And I mean, it's real. It is real all over our country right now. And it's sad where it's at. But the only way this is going to get better is if people recognize it and they take it personal and they do everything they can to make change. And it starts locally, state, federal, whatever. You got to vote, people. You got to vote.
You guys made a trade, obviously, this morning. You got a pitching change. LJ going in the first game. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll transition to baseball, Greg. Yeah, we traded Taijuan Walker this morning with the Toronto Blue Jays. Taijuan is, you talk about like maturing as a pitcher, as a person, what he was able to do, in our clubhouse, let alone what he's able to do on the field, and how he's grown there. It's a really, I'm happy for Taijuan. We get this opportunity to continue a really good season. It is his free agent year. So as I got a chance to talk to him this morning, I would love to see him go out and dominate, the rest of the season, and then come back and sign with us going forward. I think it's a very good environment for him to continue to grow and produce. Very selfishly here, I just love having him in the clubhouse and what he was able to bring there from a leadership standpoint. And not just with our young players. We talk about, Chef and Dunn and Marge and being able to help those young starters out. But, we have a first-year pitching coach here too. And he's meant a lot where, a young pitching coach can get up and talk about, things that are important to us organizationally, and to have veteran players quickly jump on board with that, it is huge. It's really huge. It makes your job easier. Now the younger players jump in. There's no things going on behind your back and things like that. And Taijuan was a big leader, making sure we were driving the right messaging and everybody was understanding the importance of it.
How do you handle that rotation spot going forward?
Yeah, LJ will start today. It's 2 7-inning games. 7-inning games, so it turns quick, to get to the back end. So, hopefully LJ, he's built up enough. I don't think give us 4 or 5 innings. But we've got obviously fresh bullpen guys, we can kind of shorten the game there. Going forward in that rotation spot, certainly LJ has been a starter. He throws a ton of strikes. He works quick. There's a reason they call him the silent assassin. Hopefully he could get after him today, but we'll just have to wait and see before if we slide him in that spot, if there's somebody else we give that opportunity to.